Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's up, John?
What's up, Andrew?
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Right now, doesn't look like anybody's here with us, but that's okay. Gonna kind of just chat here. We're gonna hang out here for about 30 minutes with you guys. Me and John in 2024 have decided that we're gonna do weekly creative days where we create videos, we create social content, we just
Plan videos.
plan videos,
Yeah, make and do.
podcast episodes,
Mhm.
all of that stuff. So today we're doing our first ever, our inaugural, as they would say,
yeah.
marketing AMA.
Mhm.
And that is, if you've never heard of an AMA, Ask Me Anything, marketing, Ask Me Anything.
Yep.
And so what we're basically doing is hanging out here on social media across a lot of the platforms that we leverage in our business. So this is live right now on Facebook. It is live on YouTube. It is live on my personal Facebook account. So wherever you're tuning in from, thank you so much. We can actually see your comments. So if you want to let us know that you're here, please let us know. That way we can have you join this conversation with us. So each week the idea is we'll bring a new topic to the room. If there's not a lot of people hanging out, we'll just kind of take it kind of like a keynote presentation style. We'll kind of just talk about whatever it is that we want to kind of talk about. And then the weeks that we have a lot of people hanging out, it will really be more of like an Ask Me Anything. So questions you might have, things that you're personally dealing with in your business, whether it be related to marketing or sales or AI, just kind of covering all those details. Podcasting.
I don't know if you said that.
Yeah. No, that was good. A lot of topics here. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. Looks like a few people are joining us again. My name's Andrew. If nobody's met me, I'm the CEO of Beefy Marketing. If you're watching it from my personal Facebook page, then obviously you know who I am. But if you're watching from Beefy's Facebook or YouTube, maybe not. And this right here is my good friend.
Howdy, I'm John.
John.
And I do podcast production, video production here at Beefy. I run the studio and come up with great ideas and make Andrew laugh all day.
Yes, exactly. That's his main job, make me laugh. So me and John have actually known each other for a long time. If you don't know us and kind of our relationship and friendship, me and John have actually been friends since high school. We actually, interestingly enough, had a house here in Tomball a long time ago that we had converted into a recording studio, and we lived in the back of this house, and the recording studio is in the front of this house, which it's actually really funny, John. A lot of people will still reach out to me because they knew me as a recording studio owner first.
Right.
They didn't, and I think some people think that's still what I'm doing now.
Right.
They don't even know that we're doing something different. So
I had someone the other day that was kind of like, wow, you know technological stuff? And I'm like, I've been making websites for like 20 years.
Yeah. I mean, you have a degree in
and
art, right?
Yeah, it's applied science and art.
In art, yeah.
Yeah, I went to the Art Institute with the emphasis in their multimedia program, which was the web design program. And it's because there was no video specific program at the time. It was the only program I could find with video in it.
Yeah, so back in the day,
So I really got an overview of everything in web marketing or digital marketing. Like they could call what I took the content creators degree course.
Nowadays.
Now, it's
right?
What it's probably called. But yeah, back then it was just, I think it changed names every few months too, because they weren't sure what to call it because it was emerging. You know, the whole digital landscape of marketing was just starting when I got into college, and so it's crazy to see how far it's come, and it's crazy that we get to have conversations like this.
Wild.
You know, years down the road, we're kind of
it's full circle.
It's full circle because it's not. You know, we can tell each other. You know, you remember when we made this mistake or that mistake, and what we learned from it now, and creating content now for Beefy. We utilize that a lot. Like, do you remember X when it went wrong? Oh yeah, how can we solve that as a pain point for customers now? And you know,
yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, it's been a heck of a journey, and it's so cool too because I feel like our whole team has a dynamic that's very similar to that.
Yeah.
We're all very much a family around here. But again, the point of these hangouts, these lives, is so that we can share with you the knowledge that we've learned for the better part of a decade. I guess longer now.
Oh yeah.
I
think it's closer to 12.
Yeah, 12 years or something like that. And so there's a lot of experience that we have that we've gained over the years. And we really wanted to just create an outlet where people could join us every week. The idea is that we'll probably host these around 11 a.m. to 12, like maybe around lunchtime or before that every week.
Depends on how hungry we are, right?
Yeah, exactly. You'll get it, right? Every Monday, that's going to be our goal. You know, I'm not going to say without a doubt every single week, but we're going to do our dead level best because we really want it to get to the point where you guys can know that you guys can count on us being here. So there's a lot of topics that we can cover. Marketing is obviously the name of our business, Beefy Marketing. It is what we do. Specifically, one of the core services that we sell and that people kind of look to us as an expert in is websites. So we bring a lot of expertise and experience when it comes to web design and branding. But then there's all the auxiliary services that we've had to learn and embrace over the last 10 years, such as SEO and social media and paid advertising and podcasting, blogging, all of these different services. And so in this new year, we have a lot that we're really excited to be working on. Podcasting seems to be the hot topic that we've had for the last kind of year and a half now. And so we're developing our own podcasting masterclass. So be on the lookout for that. Podcasting is something that you're thinking about doing for yourself or for your business, then you're not going to want to miss that. You can definitely stay in touch with us by following us on all of our social channels. And that's the best way to learn about that. But today would be a good day if you've been thinking about doing a podcast to ask those questions. Again, no matter which channel you're on, YouTube, Facebook, you can put those comments there and we'll be able to see them right here in the software that we're using to kind of talk to you guys and let you tell us what you're kind of working on this year. So again, goals that you might have, we want to be a part of that. We want to be a part of that experience. Me and John actually host our own podcast. Every single day, Monday through Friday.
Right. It used to be weekly, and I was ready to correct you, but you did it. Good job.
Business Growth Hacks. So if you want to check us out every single day, Monday through Friday, Business Growth Hacks is a less than 10-minute micro podcast where you can jump in and get actionable business advice to help you scale your business, launch your business, take your business to the next level, whatever it is in your business that you're doing, your entrepreneur journey. That's the place to do it. And we're actually doing our own business growth challenge right now.
That's right.
So that's a lot of fun. Basically, we wanted you guys to join us on the road on this experience in terms of this path, I guess I should say. The road. We're going on the road. We're taking it on the road.
We're off the road at this point. We're blazing a trail.
That's right.
If you want to grow with us.
Exactly. Definitely check that out. So, hey, Rhodes, thanks so much for jumping in here, man. Hi. Nice little wave there. Again, if you guys have comments, please drop them down below. We obviously, this is our first one, so it's a little bit more loose. No specific curriculum, but
I was going to say on the podcast, if you're interested in listening to that, today's episode is about content creation. So if content creation is something you're struggling with, there's 10 minutes of free advice that'll make you a better content creator out there today on Business Growth Hacks.
Yeah, absolutely. What else do we want to talk about that stuff? So just trying to think through here while we don't have any questions coming through. I'm trying to think of what else we could talk about. Podcasting. I guess let's just deep dive into that.
Yeah, let's do it.
As a service. So the podcast course that we're working on, the idea behind it is that one of the things we say is podcasting is really this top of the funnel priority. And if you've never heard of somebody talk about top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, and that's like a relatively new idea to you, there's this idea that when people are looking at your business for information about what you offer, there's kind of three stages. And top of the funnel is for people who are neither problem aware nor solution aware. They don't necessarily know that they have a problem, and they definitely don't know what the solution to that problem is yet, right? And so podcasting is a really great piece of top of the funnel content to educate your potential customers, your clients, your relationships with people, specifically around what it is that not only you do, but also the problem you solve. One of the things we've been talking about a lot lately at Beefy is like evangelizing the problem, right? More than the solution. And so podcasting, what's great about it is back in the day, we would tell a business owner, hey, blog for your business. You should write blogs. The problem with blogs is you don't get a lot of mileage out of them, so to say. Right. A blog is a blog. Sure, you could take that blog and copy and paste a few sentences and turn them into social media posts. But there's still, that's right, X. Sorry.
I almost said
Twitter, right? You don't get banned. So the blogs are great, but podcasting, the amount of leverage that you can get from that is so much higher. One podcast can be social media video, a long format video for YouTube. It can be cut into short social media clips. The transcription can be turned into a blog post. I mean, the value out of one podcast episode.
You can get your blogs out of your podcast episodes, but doing it the other way around, you're still having to create content. But if you have a video podcast, you're creating video content at the forefront. So it's not like a blog where you're having to then turn text into video. You can actually have video already available, and you can cut that into shorter video clips or release it as a long form, or you can even take the transcription, like you were saying, turn that back into a blog. And I think that's just so powerful, because every website kind of needs a blog for SEO now, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. And the cool thing about podcasting too is, like, not only does it establish you as an authority or a leader within your space, but it also creates this opportunity for you to build real deep relationships. When Beefy first built our new office, or bought our brand new office building here in Tomball, we actually built a podcast studio. And the primary purpose was this like phrase that we called podcast prospecting. The idea that we could interview business owners, tell their stories, and in turn create really good relationships that may or may not one day turn into a customer. Right. So there's this sales aspect to it. It's more than just having them as a guest on our show, but sure, there's this sales end as well. Now, that doesn't mean that it's a selling podcast.
It's not a hard sell. Like you were talking earlier, not to preach the solution, but the problem.
That's right.
And you don't want to come across as buy. You want to cross as here's my help, here's my help, here's my help.
Exactly. So the podcasting allows you to do that. We kind of selfishly always say that podcasts allow us to also interview experts that we are looking in our own businesses for free, whereas like normally I'd have to go hire an expert in a specific area to pick their brain on the matter.
Right.
In this case, it's like, hey, come be a guest on our podcast.
Yeah.
And now I get to learn from that person.
Save on some consult fees.
Yeah. But it also delivered value to my audience. And the reality is it's most likely delivering value to that guest as well.
Right. And I think what makes that so valuable, especially in the new format, is our transparency. I mean, it's our growth journey. It's practical. It's real. It's what we're going through. And so I think it's such a good podcast for business owners to listen to, just because we're sharing our actual problems with you and how we actually overcome them every day. It's not just, filler for sales. It's a real story. And we're trying to make that real connection over the sale. Ultimately, we want to stay in business, so we need the sales. But ultimately, the biggest goal is to connect with you, the person.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy how much business podcasting has brought us, not just as a service, but even just for our other areas of our business, because of relationships we've made. And that part is really cool. So it looks like you got some comments popping in here. So I'm going to pull them up on the screen. So we've got programs you use for filming and editing. A lot of really good ones. So you asked, there's another question we had pop up here that said, know of any free video editors, which we just talked about this morning.
Right? The biggest one that's out there that's a free software that you can download for video editing is called DaVinci Resolve.
Yep.
And it's pretty powerful. I'd say it probably can do everything my paid software can do, which is Adobe Premiere. That's what I use. And I don't know that it's just I was brought up on it, and so I like it. And I could probably switch to Resolve and be okay. I'm not 100% on that. There's different features in every software, but for a free, no cost to you software, DaVinci Resolve is probably the best one out there. And I like Adobe Premiere. It comes at a cost though, but that's what I use. And then also the question was in there, programs used for recording.
Yeah, for editing and audio editing.
So we actually do use a program for recording, Riverside FM.
Yep.
And what Riverside does is pretty awesome. It will record locally on the computer. And so we get full quality, like when you're on Zoom and it warbles out and all the text gets weird or the speech gets weird. Yeah, we can avoid all of that by recording locally. We get great quality files, and it's pretty awesome. So Riverside is the software that we use for recording. And then what is one more? Logic. Free audio software. Yeah. Audacity is free, and GarageBand, if you bought a Mac, comes with it.
Yeah, for free.
So if you're looking for free audio software, Audacity would be a good one, or GarageBand, and both of them have similar options that are available in your pro audio editors. However, Audacity looks like it was made by someone who does not care for design at all.
Yeah.
It's just, it's very run-of-the-mill 1990s
pretty
computer
technical
program.
Yeah, for sure.
But looking like 1990s.
Yes.
The tech is there for today's standards, I promise.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that Audacity, GarageBand, free. audio editors, and then for video, DaVinci Resolve is the free audio, free video editor.
And then like John already mentioned, the ones we use is Premiere. We also have used Final Cut. What's the one on the web we've used as well that's pretty popular?
Oh, Lumens. But the S is a 5.
Yeah, Lumen 5.
And that one's pretty cool because there's an AI aspect to it where you can throw in one of those blogs we were talking about, and it'll
automatically
images,
create a video for you.
Yeah, and then you can even go in and add your own talking head video. And you used to be able to record voiceover in it, but now you have to record the voiceover outside of it.
And then pull it in. Okay, cool. Yeah, so there's a lot of really good tools out there. So if you're thinking about starting a podcast, I mean, one of the things that people ask us all the time is like, what does it take to get started with podcasting? And the reality is like
thoughts and ideas.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Like there's so much incredible technology available for free. Even microphones. Like today's video, it might look really nice, but our setup right now is simple. A display that I have that has a built-in webcam. We
didn't even address the blind.
Yeah, right. The blind.
It's been bothering me for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah. We got a key light, which is just a simple light right here behind my computer screen to give us some nice light on our faces.
Just to make sure our faces aren't in the dark, because if they can't see you, they're not going to hear you either.
That's right. Yep. And then behind us, we have one light on the ground.
Should I hold it up?
Yeah, hold it up. Might as well.
I'm not going to blind everyone with it.
Yeah, this is a simple LED light. And then we've just got it set here on kind of behind our chairs up on the wall.
It makes that background pop a little bit. And, we could do a little bit better, too, because we got this real harsh shadow. So I can pull that depth out a little bit.
Yeah, kind of get it to be bright, almost.
I think we're gonna have to move the desk to really.
That's pretty good. I mean, that
eliminated that shadow. But here, there's some live practical advice on how you can light your background.
Exactly. So I think that again, there's not a lot that you have to worry about to get started. I mean, the big thing for me is have an idea of what you're trying to create, put together a little basic outline. Don't let yourself get in your way. I talked about right, like that's a big thing,
again,
right?
Man.
I talk to so many people who are like, "Oh yeah, I want to do it," and I've been working on it, and I've been thinking about it, and it's like knowing and thinking about it is not doing it, right? Just do it. This is a great comment as well here.
Oh yeah,
post-production is definitely my weakness. I'm reading a book right now. We talked about this earlier today. I asked John, actually, the first thing I asked John when I got in today was, from now on, anytime we have a new idea in the office, and I say, "Well, how are we going to do that?" Who? Thanks, John. Who are we going to need to put in place to help us accomplish that? We just have to kind of reframe our mindset around that. So post-production is definitely my weakness. I'm not saying don't take the time to learn if that's something that you have the time.
Yeah.
I think what you have to do for yourself is evaluate, do I have a lot of time and no money? Then learn it. If you have some extra money but no time or no desire to learn it, then delegate it, outsource it, right? That is your own personal decision that you have to make for yourself.
Yeah.
But there's a great website called Fiverr, Fiverr, I think. Let me make sure.
I think it's Fiverr.
Fiverr. Yeah, double R's
in the end. One R. Wow, I did that backwards.
All good.
Branding is important.
I used to think it was double V's. Really? So, I mean, good thing we checked.
Good thing we checked. Always check your links.
Yeah, exactly. ERR.com. A great website to outsource creative tasks. Right here, this is going to be raw feedback. Like the idea that you might have here sitting here watching this stream is like everything I'm going to do and say is going to revolve around like Beefy and my agency and what we have to offer. And the reality is like sometimes the best resource is the free resource. Sometimes the best resource is someone else's resource. So I just want you guys to know that as you guys tune in every week, I'm not going to always be pitching myself. I'm not always going to be selling Beefy marketing. I'm going to give you the practical advice that I think you need that you can implement in your business. So I do think that Fiverr is a great resource for outsourcing creative resources. Are you trying to, get a beautiful logo for your business and it should last you the test of time? Maybe Fiverr's not the best place for that.
Yeah.
Are you looking to get a logo designed for $50 and it's for a potential project that's not a real project? Yeah, cool. It's rapid prototyping. That might be a good idea. You really just need to think through what's the overall goal, what is the dollars that you have assigned for it. And I bring that all up to say, if post-production is your weakness, there's some great podcast editors on the platform. You'll probably spend anywhere from $40 to $60 or maybe more to have an individual episode edited. And the reality is it's all going to come down to what are you actually getting, right?
Yeah.
So, when you think about that, it's like $100. That's not bad, but it's like, what am I getting for the $100? Obviously, Beefy does offer that as a service, but it's full turnkey. So when we do a podcast, we're doing the recording, the editing, the distribution, the hosting of that podcast, all of those things. So some great resources out there. If that's something you need help with, obviously you can hit us up or we can kind of point you in the right direction. But Fiverr is a great resource for that.
Another thing I'd say, if post-production is your weakness, then maybe actually pre-planning is part of your weakness too. Because sometimes you can eliminate problems that you're encountering in post-production by just,
Better takes up front.
Just better planning.
Yeah, for sure.
Just plan better. We joke about that all the time in my band. That plan B, time to use plan B. Time to plan better.
The
fact that we're going to plan B means that we didn't plan good.
Yeah.
So that's just a joke, but
that's a great point. No, I mean seriously, it's a really good point because I think that we've noticed this when we've gone in and done a podcast where we didn't have any intention behind it. Sometimes they come out good and sometimes they're disastrous. Like we throw it away. Whereas like when we go into an interview where we've done the research, we've done the homework, we know who our guest is, we kill it, right? Yeah. And the reality is what our post-production editing process looks like is so much more streamlined, right?
Oh yeah.
Because it's like, hey, cut some ums and ahs out. I was like, take that out.
I'm just thinking,
I need to just shut up when I say
That's a big filler word.
Filler word's a big thing, right?
Like learning not to speak when you have nothing to say is one of the hardest things ever.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to wrap.
No, and you're not gonna be perfect at it.
Yeah.
I use another tool. I cannot think of the name of it, so count on me, like either bringing it back next week or dropping it in the comments section so that you guys can look back later. But there's another AI podcast editing software that does have an expense associated to it. But one of the cool features that it has is it actually goes through and it finds all of those unnecessary pauses, those unnecessary filler words.
What is that website called?
I know, it's going to drive me nuts, but it's all good.
I could probably go to my history.
I know, it's right here. Like I click around, I could find it, but it's a great tool if you're looking to kind of use some AI, and it actually just takes you to the next section of the conversation and allows you to quickly take those bites out. So if you're willing to spend a little money, I think that it will help you get through a little bit faster with the whole process. And again, don't worry so much about making sure that every single thing you say is perfect.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be perfect. Now, of course, the quality should sound good. People aren't going to listen to a non-quality sounding video or audio because it's going to be for long, right? Yeah. It's going to get old. So just make sure that you do your best to, kind of make it as good as possible. Mm-hmm. Same thing with distribution. A lot of people will ask us, well, how do we get our podcast out there? How do we host it? There's a lot of great tools. One of the best places to start is actually Spotify. Spotify has been known to have a relationship with Anchor. Spotify also has a relationship with Riverside, which makes it really easy to record, edit, and distribute your podcast right from their podcast platform. So Spotify itself will allow you to distribute your podcast. That's a great place to start. There's a million others. There's Podbean, Buzzsprout, Captivate, podcast.co. There's 1,000.
Libsyn.
Libsyn still, they podcast. Yeah. There's a lot, right?
There's a lot. The fact that we can forget about some of them tells you how many there are.
And those are just ones we can remember.
And again, it comes down to price and what you need to get out of it, and what you're paying for is what you get.
Yeah, one of the biggest things I would tell you guys when it comes to a podcast hosting platform, find somebody that offers IAB certified analytics or certified metrics. And the main reason that is important is because if your podcast does happen to blow up and you start getting incredible downloads and you decide to seek monetization, traditional advertisements where people are putting ads with inside of your episode, you're going to want to have as close to industry standard or industry, validated or approved metrics. And IAB certified are the ones that the industry as a whole are looking at. So
we had a question come in there.
Yeah, let's see here. Do you recommend having an email just for those accounts? I guess you're referring specifically to, do you have to have an email? Are you looking for an email specifically for these different software companies that you're signing up for podcasting tools? Not necessarily. I don't think you have to. If you have a custom domain name, for example, you're a company, specifically with somebody like Outlook or Google Admin, G Suite, as other people might know it, you have the ability to create free email aliases. They don't cost you anything. And you could set up like a podcast at your website. So podcast@beefymarketing.com, and that could forward then to your primary inbox. If you want to do it for sake of just keeping it clean and, having like an email address that you can use for the podcast specifically, and you don't want to reveal your personal email address, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
I would just basically do a free Gmail account, honestly.
Yeah.
Just do your podcast name.
And the caveat all of that, this morning we were talking about kind of how social channels will pin you into an algorithm based on your first posts.
Yeah.
And so if you're starting a new channel for a new podcast, it might be a good idea to create that all under one email just to streamline it all. And I think that could be a situation where, you may want to create a new email address for those accounts in that case.
Exactly. Yeah, that's not a bad thought at all. So yeah, that's the big thing. If you want to get this thing started, just do it.
That's 100%. Like, we expect that the first podcast or everything that we're going to make is going to be as good as Joe Rogan's last episode, and that's just not the case. He's done 300-400 more episodes before you have started. So you can't expect to be Joe Rogan in your first podcast. And I think that's the biggest takeaway that I've had over the years working in podcasting is you're not going to be great out of the gate, and just keep at it though. Work on the areas you need to work on, and don't expect too much out of your first episode, Yeah. I think everybody wants to go viral after 10 minutes worth of work, and
it's just not going to happen.
Overnight success is the culmination of 15 years of work.
Yeah. Well, obviously the title of this live stream today was, I believe, podcasting, AI, sales, and marketing and growth. I think was kind of the gist of our title. We've hit a lot of that. I think we've not spoke too much about AI. That's a popular topic. I'm not going to deep dive today, but I think that's a topic that if you guys have questions about, do me a favor. And today, whatever channel you're listening to, drop some questions for us. That next week when we come back to do this again, we already have some questions lined up to answer. Any questions related to AI. We have been deep diving into AI for the past 2 to 3 years. There's probably not many questions you can ask us that we will not have some form of idea on.
That we can ask AI.
We can ask AI to answer for us. But please bring those questions, because I definitely think that is going to be, I don't know.
Going to make the most out of these talks for you guys if y'all send us questions, because we're here for you. This is your hour. So you put the questions out here, and we'll put the information in your ears.
Yeah. So I guess to just kick off with AI for at least a few minutes to kind of dive into that conversation, so I could piggyback on this podcasting idea, which is if you're thinking about getting into podcasts and you're still a little bit nervous, you're still apprehensive, whether you're a business owner or you're just an individual wanting to do it for fun, AI is a great place to start with just brainstorming the idea.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know just how powerful AI is. They think all you can do is ask it questions. That's pretty much all it does.
Get funny responses,
right? The idea is you can really get we call it prompt chaining. The idea that if you can give really, really good prompts to AI, you should be able to get a really good outcome. So for example, let's say that a med spa came to me today and said, hey, we're thinking about creating a podcast for our medical spa. What should we do? I would recommend let's hop into AI, right? Let's put in some information about the business, their background, who it is that they serve, their ideal customer, their ideal goals, their target market, the things that they feel like they're experts about talking about, all of that stuff. And then we ask AI at the end of all of that context, we say, hey, please come up with a list of 5 or 6 podcast ideas or themes for us, along with some talking points or topics, right?
Right.
And let it do that homework, right? And it builds it based on the kind of contextual information that you provided it to really personalize it to you. And so I think that's a great place to start with AI, but then AI gets crazy. AI can create your artwork. Right. AI can automate processes. AI can automatically edit your podcast episodes. AI can take your content and repurpose it for blogs and social media posts and emails, and the list is endless what AI is capable of doing. So that's where AI applies to podcasting. Now you can kind of just build on top of that and think, okay, well, if we can do all of that with AI for podcasting, how else can I use AI? One of the ways we're seeing a lot of small businesses use AI is to help create their social content calendar, their marketing, calendar. A lot of companies out there realize that social media is important for them, but they're not in a position yet to spend $1,500 to $2,500 a month to hire an agency to do it for them. Yeah. And although I would like to work with every single one of you that's ready to spend $1,500 to $2,500 a month to do it for you, the reality is not everyone is ready for that. Everybody's ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
AI can do a really good job of helping you, again, provide contextual information about your business, and then ask it to help you identify potential topics, ideas of types of posts, things that will help you in your journey to creating content. And then if you leverage software like Wingman, which is one of our tools, which is trustyourwingman.com, you can actually have it generate the content and schedule it out so that what used to take you weeks, months, or maybe you've avoided it at all costs because you just didn't think that you could do it at all. Maybe you're not creative. Maybe you're not a writer. Maybe you don't feel like you have enough time. You can actually leverage AI to write your entire social calendar and schedule it for a whole month.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like we got another
What we got?
a couple questions here jumping in. The word. Oh yeah,
the word issue. So now the AI.
Yes. Thanks for bringing this one up.
Yeah.
That's a great point. If you are using AI to generate images or graphics, I had just shared this with a potential client, a friend here locally that's thinking about starting a podcast, and we showed him how to use AI to create graphics. And he had actually messaged me, and I haven't had a chance to get back with him. So if you're listening out there, sir, this is the answer to your question. Right now, AI was not intended, or I shouldn't say is not intended. It has not got up to the point yet where it is doing text very well. So you might say, create a artwork for a podcast titled Big Man Fitness. And it might come up with a really, really cool background and picture and imagery. And then where it says Big Man Fitness, it might look like a totally different language. It might have double letters for the spelling. It's just not doing that part very well. The other thing I want to bring up as it pertains to using AI to create graphics is that they are not editable graphics natively, meaning it's not a source file. It is a rastered image, which that's really important to know if you're really trying to do logo design or t-shirt design. That's why it's important still to work with a professional.
You know what we ought to do? We ought to print an AI image on a t-shirt and keep it in the front lobby just to show people why you don't
do that. Yes.
Yeah.
They look cool. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like
the graphics look great.
Amazing.
But the quality that you can get isn't a print file.
That's right. It's not a print file. It can't be modified. It can't be edited later. So that being said, when you are using AI to create creative graphics, my first recommendation is use it for a concept stage, not necessarily for final artwork.
No, I would say you can really use it to utilize Fiverr. Hey, design me something that looks like this.
Yeah, I'm looking for something similar to what AI, like this AI thing is roughly what's in my mind. Can you create something comparable to it, right?
Yeah.
Which that way you get good artwork that's editable and you can modify and all that fun stuff. And then the other thing to note in the AI image creation is on top of my tongue, and I'm trying to remember what it is.
We were talking about the words.
Words, editable. I don't know what I was going to say, but that's the point. That's the thing about live. You just roll with it, right? All I'm trying to tell you guys is if you're going to use AI for creative stuff, don't think that it's going to be a final product necessarily. For me, I also like to. I know what I was going to say actually now. In your prompt, maybe tell it not to include text. That's what I do. So I'll give it the background image I want. Especially if you're just using it for like a social media banner where like the image that AI produces is good enough for what you need and you don't want to spend money. Yeah. Cool. Just tell it not to include text. That way you can use a program like Canva, which is a free design tool, to add your own text on top. You could even say something like leave an open space.
Listen to this.
Or text, right? It's all about prompting. So that's what that is. Got another question coming in here from Dave. Says Lynn's suggestion for a Sony EV10 to be used as a primary webcam. Mine I think is it on there, the Figma 50?
Let me go grab it.
It might be the Figma 18.
I'm thinking of the 18. Yeah, this is a 16.
16. So this right here is a 16 millimeter Sigma lens. I don't know if you guys can see it on a Sony. This is a, I don't know what model this one is. I think it is the E10 though. Yeah, it is. ZB E10. You probably can't see it at all. And there it is. Sony EV10. Dave, that would be my camera lens recommendation, a 16 millimeter. Maybe I could go both ways. This is really wide.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's
so
very wide.
It is really wide. I guess it depends on what your background is. If you've got a really cool background set, especially like a bookshelf or anything like that, and you really want to showcase a lot of that, I would suggest this. If you don't, my recommendation would most likely be a 50 millimeter, with the primary reason being a static or a fixed, they call it a 50 prime, would allow you to have a little bit more bokeh, meaning that the background behind you, especially if you're a little bit further away from your background, then like I'm pretty close to my background. But if we were shooting with a Figma 50 or whatever brand 50 millimeter lens, and we're a little bit further away from our background, we're actually going to get that really cool kind of like blurred effect where the background's not 100% sharp. It's kind of blurred out. It's got that real cinematic look that people love. The 50, the reason I personally use the 50 is because, one, my background, even when shot wide, I don't think looks bad other than these curtains right here, which is really easily fixable by
that's all we need
doing
to do.
that, which John is probably so happy about that.
I am. This video's got better.
And so there's a lot of ways that you could do that. But the real main reason that I chose this 50 was because I'm doubling this camera for the purpose of vlogging and getting content out in the field. And when you think about the fact that when you vlog, a lot of times you're filming yourself like this, you want a camera that's going to capture as much of your background as possible, because that's what, one, prevents it from being like this right up in your face. And two, it gives a lot more like visual, I don't know, eye candy, right? Stuff in the background that people get to see what's happening. So if you've watched any major vlog on YouTube over the years, they're most likely shooting with a wide angle lens like this, whatever it is, 16, right?
And I'd say you can go with a variable lens too. Like I like an 17-24, 17 to 24 lens is probably one of my favorites because it can do so much. And even with this 16 lens, if we were to get a little bit further away with that camera, I would no longer recommend that lens for you because it's going to start to stretch your face out after certain distances.
That's a great point.
And you don't want to look stretchy.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time on camera.
Yeah, but if you've probably heard of somebody talk about like the fisheye effect, where all of a sudden those super wide lenses will start to kind of warp the edges of the video. So obviously be mindful of that. But there's a really lot of great lenses. My favorite, like all-time favorite lens, if you want to just drop the cash, is probably still a 24-70.
Oh yeah.
You know, it gives you a relatively wide frame as well as a relatively tight shot. So you can get a lot of versatility out of a 24-70. As John said, the kit lens that you get with a Sony ZV-E10 is a like digital zoom lens. 18
to 24.
Something like that. It's actually pretty good. We just built a podcast studio for a client in Houston. And
we used 3 of them.
We did 3 of those. Yeah. And what we loved about it was that because the room is kind of small and we were shooting across the room for some people and tighter on others, we're able to use those lenses using the digital zoom to catch everybody nicely in frame without having some ginormous lens that would have cost an arm and a leg.
And while the fixed lens may have a crisper picture, when we're talking podcast video, it's not on the silver screen. And so we don't need the most high dollar lenses to produce content. And the more versatile your lens, because like Andrew said, he's using it for a vlog camera as well. The more versatile you are, the more kind of content you can produce. And so if you're not going to fix it to a desk and solely do zoom with it, you probably want a little bit of leeway there.
Yeah, for sure. Dave, another one from you said, I'm rocking an 18-105 right now, but looking to add another lens. Good one. Typically, the problem I see with those lenses specifically, especially if they're a kit lens or a starter lens, it just doesn't have as much depth and sharpness as a more fixed prime lens or even a 24-70 or something like that.
Right.
That's got.
And I'll say the most expensive part of a camera that you should throw money at is the glass, which is that lens.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The other big thing there is that the more expensive lenses tend to have a lower f-stop,
which
allows more light in and focus, which that's what's really gives you that crisp
image, and that bokeh, which is blurry, which is kind of funny. It does both.
I know it is funny. Yeah. So that would be my advice. There would be, Dave specifically, if you're looking for a new lens. I know it's always tough whenever you're kind of first getting into video because it can really add up.
Well,
spend a little
because
money
he has a variable lens there, I would say go with a fixed 50 possibly, or a fixed 16, fixed 18, something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you have a variable lens, I think, and see that f4 that you're talking about. The fixed lenses will go down to a f1.
Yeah.
which will just allow so much light in. You'll probably have to pull your ISO down to 0 once you start using it. But
Yeah. I wish I knew what this one
with that, I think that lens is a f4.
is. It okay?
It's 4 or 3. Pretty much all of the lenses
Yeah.
that come with the kit, they're going to go down to 3 or 4 and nothing lower than that. You're going to have to shell out some money to get an f-stop down to 1.
Absolutely. So some great questions, guys. Thank you all so much for adding those into the conversation. If you got more, please put them specifically around. I mean, obviously, this is where the conversation's at right now. Podcasting, video, AI, AI questions. That's something we really love talking about. So if you got AI questions, drop those. I think the thing in our little description of our live today was also talking about sales. And
we touched on that with automation.
Yeah, we talked about that. I mean, that's the big thing is if you guys actually, I'll share a really good example. Did I do that?
Yes, it's the new feature with the new camera. That happened to me while I was recording a podcast the other day.
I don't know if I did that. If I didn't, whatever.
You can. I don't remember how it worked, but it did it to me the other day.
One of the things I wanted to kind of just bring up was I had a really great conversation with a client this morning, which she was letting me know that unfortunately she had a lead come through on her website on Thursday.
Oh, yeah, this is a good one.
And then she found out Saturday or Sunday in a Facebook group from this prospect that he had questions about their product versus another product. Long story short, she reached out. He messaged her and said, hey, yeah, I had to go to the Facebook group because I reached out Thursday and I never heard from anybody, which was obviously a pretty big issue. And so one of the things that we're helping her implement in her business, and I would encourage you guys to consider or look into and bring your questions next week about, would be how are you guys leveraging automation to improve your sales process? In her business specifically, we set it up today on the call, and I think it's going to be a game changer for her business. We implemented a chat bot. Now when someone fills out a form on her website or fills out the chat bot request, they will immediately, both internally and as a customer, get an email, a text, an in-app notification to let them know that they've got a new lead that they need to follow up on. And then the customer gets a text as well to let them know that, you know, we've received that request.
Yep.
And there's even a phone number there in case they're wanting to talk to somebody a little bit sooner.
Sooner.
Words
is hard.
Words are hard. Automation in your business is key. So just wanted to say that right quick. If you have questions for that now, it's fine. But if you want to bring them back next week, that's cool too. But if you're not using automation in your business, or if you are, I want to hear from you. I want to hear how you're using automation. I want to how you're leveraging it. Yeah, because I don't think a lot of companies know that there's so much that can be automated, and it's pretty powerful, and it will change the game for your sales.
And
process.
It doesn't have to feel robotic too. I think that's the big thing. You know, it doesn't have to feel like AI. You can give it a human touch.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like we have another question about podcasting. So since we're on that hot topic, let's go.
All right.
Want to speak on soundproofing or mics? Absolutely.
Not really. No.
No.
No. Funny about it. Soundproofing can be as simple as loading blankets at Lowe's. You know, those thick blankets that you use just to wrap furniture in when they move. You can use some of those to do some sound dampening. Or, I mean, you can go to the nice high density 1 degree foam, which I think that's what this is.
Right behind us.
And, and basically what that does is it just stops sound from bouncing around the room, because all your echo is bouncing sound waves. So if you can put things in the room that absorb sound waves, it'll stop that echo. And so that'll help. But I mean, sky's the limit on soundproofing prices, because you can get out there. They even have custom design where you can get graphics put on them, and you can go out there and make some really cool looking stuff. Or if you're trying to start a podcast on your own, one thing you could do for sound dampening, go into your closet. It's got a bunch of clothes in there. Get up against those clothes to where your voice can't bounce, and put your microphone right there against those clothes. And that's probably the easiest, cheapest way to start soundproofing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of great resources out there. Like John already mentioned, you know, you're trying to kind of stop that reflection in most cases. There's also what we call there's these acoustic panels called bass traps, where sound waves kind of get stuck in the corners of a room. They kind of
keep them from
standing waves. They kind of just literally hang up there, and
we don't even notice them.
No,
until you record it.
And you're like, what is that weird little something that's just bugging me, right?
Yeah.
So my suggestions there would be if you can afford to spend the money and put some bass straps in your space, absolutely. One of my favorite places to buy acoustic foam is a company called GIK Acoustics. They make some of the prettiest acoustic treatment. First of all, a lot of decorative items that you can make your space look nice, not just like right now, these ones that you're seeing behind us are nice, but they're just more traditional gray tweed. They actually have ones that are like decorative wood with acoustic foam behind it, and those are amazing. You can actually get into if you're really going crazy and going ham, you could do things like actual foam in the walls themselves that just help with like sound
and in the floor
isolation in the floor.
Yeah, you can do foam in the floor to keep those low end from vibrating a lot.
Yep. And I'm glad you actually brought up the floors, because something as simple as a really thick shag rug in a space, furniture, all of those things are gonna help make the space better. As it pertains to the microphone question, guys, this is a tough one because there are so many options for mics out there.
I would say directional
for sure.
Directional mic is what you really want for podcasting. Something that's only picking up from one point.
Yep.
Because that way you're not getting those reflections off of the walls back in the microphone.
Yeah, my number one recommendation from a price point standpoint is probably still the Yeti microphone.
And from ease of use, and you don't need to buy an extra interface with that mic. So entry level, I'd agree.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to try to drop the link.
I've liked the Yeti mic since the Snowball, honestly.
I had that mic.
I had the mic. I've actually owned 2 or 3 Snowballs, I think, throughout the day.
This guy right here is the one that we have implemented for our clients. We've actually even got a few in our own studio. I'm going to post it in the comments for you guys if you want to take a look at it. There we go. What in the...
Oh, it was too long.
If the link worked, awesome. If it didn't, I'm sorry, and I'm gonna do it differently than that. Because I noticed that on our side, it does not look like it came through quite as well as it should have. But it's called the Logitech Blue Yeti X USB microphone. That is the one specifically we're referring to right now.
Put the name in there,
and I'm gonna just put the name in there in case it did some weird stuff in there. But that's the microphone we're talking about.
Yeah.
Specifically. It is a great microphone for the price point. I think it's $130 right now on Amazon. And what it can do, like one of our guys, our other John, y'all may have seen other John, John Kelly on our team. He has a podcast and he bought a new one, a more expensive, probably $300 or $400 microphone. And he compared them back and forth. And although the new one does sound nicer, the other one is still really, really good. It does not sound bad in the slightest. That's still my most inexpensive mic option. My number one mic option, if you're going to drop the money, like big time money, would probably be the Shure SM7B or the
EV
RE20, which is the ones we use.
The EV RE20 is the best.
Yeah.
That's my personal favorite. It's the radio broadcast mic. For podcasting, I think that is the best mic you can buy.
Yeah, it just brings a lot of low end depth and fullness to your voice. Like if you listen to yourself through a cheap microphone or an inexpensive microphone,
cutting frequency.
It's cut frequency, so it's a little flatter is what we would say. Whereas the more expensive $600-$700 microphones, just like voice of God. Sometimes they call it the voice of God. It's just that
I don't want to say on live what I think pulls in.
Yeah, it's just like the grab him by the that's the word he's looking for.
That's the word.
That is a great microphone. But again, if you're looking kind of just to stay on the more inexpensive side, then my recommendation is definitely that Logitech.
Oh, there's also, it's the Samson QU7. It's like $60 USB microphone. Probably the cheapest, best sounding microphone I've ever heard.
Yep. And Dave, actually, I'm going to pop this up here just to share this with people. He's got the Rode NT USB.
Oh, yeah.
That's great things about that microphone. That's another really great inexpensive microphone.
It's very similar to the Yeti.
Yeah, actually, there's another product right now I wanted to share with you guys because it's a really cool device. If you're thinking about like really leveling up your podcast, especially if you're going to be doing it on your own at home, Rode Microphones just came out with a new device specifically for plugging your microphone and a nice camera in. I've just got to remember the name of it so I can tell y'all what it's called. It's a little camera switcher, microphone input, for your computer. John, do you happen to know what it's called? It's okay if you don't.
What are we looking for?
It's that new Rode interface. Let's see if I can find it.
The Streamer X? Or
Streamer X, that's the one. Yeah, thanks. The Streamer X is a really good device by Rode because it is both an audio interface and a video capture card. So what does that mean? Obviously, right now, we are using just a webcam built into the stream,
Mhm.
and that's fine. But if we wanted to level this video up, which likely other
will.
weeks that we will do this, it will be much nicer video quality. We would be using, and look, Dave was a smart one. He actually knew what I was talking
You
about.
did. Look at
The
that.
stream. So the Stream X will actually allow you to not only use a professional microphone like the ones we've discussed via XLR, but it will also allow you to use a nicer camera like the Sony EV10 we were talking about earlier, or any other traditional mirrorless or DSLR camera. It will allow you to then leverage this as a webcam. So you can actually use this nice camera as a webcam, and you can do all of that through that Streamer X device that Dave mentioned. It's by Rode, RODE.
And then to give our guys over at Elgato some love, they also have an awesome product that will do something similar. It doesn't do audio as well unless you're pulling it through the camera, but it's the 4K USB thing.
Yep, the 4K.
Oh, it's just called the 4KX. Why is everything X now?
Yeah, why they got to add all these names? It's basically just a video card. Again, it allows you to plug your camera in there. So,
it's just a USB or it's a HDMI plug-in that just
but I will say, for the money, that little Streamer X is worth it because it does so much. Like I talked about it just being for your microphone and your camera, but it also has like some little shortcut buttons that you can use for bringing comments up on your screen.
Yeah, like you just
like I've been doing right now. You can use it for switching between your slides if you're doing slideshows and your video. You could program those keys to do a lot of things. It's actually really, really cool. Sound effects, built-in intros and outros. I mean, it's a great little device that does everything.
Yep.
And my biggest reason I would use it is if you've not bought any equipment and you want to have the least amount of stuff on your desk, because I've got a audio interface, I've got a video capture card, and I've got a Stream Deck, which is the thing that does the shortcut buttons. So if you want to consolidate that all down to one device, Streamer X, great resource for that.
Yep.
Now, if you're looking at getting into podcasting in a studio environment or with multiple guests, then that might be a reason why you consider Rode's Rodecaster
or
one of those
Mackie
devices.
has one
Mackie,
now, too.
yeah. So a lot of great tools out there for that. So,
Zoom makes one as well now.
Really?
Yeah, they've always had
They've always had the Zoom recorder,
but no, now they have an 8-track digital board that also does podcast recording with the same, just like the Rodecaster. It has a few MIDI.
That's pretty nice.
I think it's only 4 instead of 8.
Yeah. Cool. Keep the questions coming, guys. We got about 8 more minutes. We're going to hang out with you guys today.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate all the questions. It makes this conversation go
so
much easier
You don't just have to,
than us talking to ourselves for an hour.
No, they've covered some great ground today. I'll keep it coming.
Keep them coming. Yeah. Whether it's, again, podcasting, AI, social media, sales, marketing, bring the questions.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you want to, if you're too afraid to ask a question, drop in the comments what your goal is for 2024. What is your biggest goal for 2024? Yeah. We can help you celebrate those goals. We can help you hopefully achieve your goals.
Yeah, you can also ask for a friend.
And
we won't even ask who the friend is.
Yeah, exactly. You tell us what your friend's goals are.
Yeah.
This is for accountability.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what it's about. Because I think the big theme this year, 2024, is about growth here.
Oh, it's definitely our growth
for
year.
Our clients, growth for us, growth for our shows, growth for everything we're doing.
Yeah, and speaking of that, just so you guys know, kind of a behind-the-scenes look at something, me and John dropped $600 on something this morning.
On an experiment.
Let's call it an experiment, where we have been doing a lot of research and study around how to grow and scale your podcast. That way, not only can we know how to do it for ourselves, but we can also confidently let our customers know and our clients know how they can grow their shows as well. And one of the things that someone mentioned that we thought was worth the experiment was advertising on some of the major podcast platforms to get new subscribers. And something else we've learned that's really interesting. If you already have a podcast, you should take note of this. Daily subscribers matter more than the total number of downloads. So it's really important that you get subscribers on a regular basis. So again, we dropped $600. We're going to be advertising for the next 30 days on one of the major podcast platforms to see what kind of results we can get, to see what kind of subscribers we have. And while I'm here, shameless plug, if you haven't already, subscribe to the Business Growth Hacks podcast.
That's right.
And because I'm a nice boss and I love my team, you should also check out Small Business Origins, hosted by our good friend John Kelly. He works here at Beefy, John the Marketer. You can find him on Instagram. You can find his podcast at smallbusinessorigin.com. And that way you can check out all his episodes. John's podcast is a lot different than ours. He tells the small business stories of successful businesses, their origin stories. And that's amazing. Whereas me and John every day are sharing business growth hacks to help you grow your business. Let's see what we got. We got some more questions popping in here.
This is the answer to the next question.
This one here?
Right here. Yeah, what's in my hand?
Okay, traveling overseas for conference, goal of capturing a ton of content, travel vlog, reels, and interviews. Should I prioritize cell phone for ease of access or lug around the Sony on a gimbal? We've got the perfect balance of both. This guy, this cutie, this little cutie,
It's the best of both worlds.
is the best of both worlds. It is a gimbal. So
Yep.
if I flip the screen on,
I say, go ahead and turn it on. Show 'em how
watch
it
her go,
works.
baby.
There it goes.
It didn't flip like it's supposed to. Let's try that again. There we go. Cool. This right here is a gimbal. So you'll notice that as I move, the camera stays nice and
Oh,
smooth.
it also focuses. Yeah.
It focuses. The other cool thing here is there's a mobile app. So if you're ever in a situation where you don't have a cameraman, which most of us solopreneurs, entrepreneurs don't always have somebody following us around yet. We're not Gary Vee yet. So this little guy can be posted on a tripod. You can open up the app. You can double tap your face. And as you move around and you talk, it will follow you around. So this is great for those people out there doing that. It's got a nice widescreen or wide angle lens.
There you go.
So you can do vlogs with it. What's really great about it is, unlike an iPhone where the nice camera is on the back and the crappy camera is on the front, this camera, again, because it is a gimbal camera, I can just press the little camera tilt button and you saw the camera
Right
turn
around.
towards me. So I can actually vlog.
So if you flip
just
it
like this.
around to the camera, they'll be able to see the screen there.
Yeah. So you can actually see us right there. And if I flip it vertically, this is kind of cool too. Press continue. It will actually shoot in vertical mode as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we could actually use this for creating Instagram content, TikTok videos. Actually, if you saw, head over to my Instagram account, because why not? I'm going to get better at this plugging stuff.
There you go.
Instagram.com/Andrew Brockenbush, BROCKENBUSH. That right there is my Instagram account. You'll see the latest video that I posted, and we shot it with this camera right here.
Mm-hmm.
You can also follow Beefy Marketing on all of our channels, and I think that video is posted there as well.
Yep.
But this camera is amazing. It literally is this big. Now, there are some cool accessories that go with this. There's a little extended battery pack that clips onto the bottom, and
I almost did that smooth.
this little guy here just clicks right on. Let's make sure I'm doing this right.
Make sure it's
This
right
way?
there. Yeah,
Clicks on. It gives it extra battery power, and it's a tripod. So now we've got a tripod, which you can't see, but that's fine. A tripod. And it also gives it an extended handle, so we can use it for vlogging.
It's an extra battery.
And another extra battery pack right here as well. The other cool thing is this. So by the way, this is called the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. DJI also makes these sexy little teeny tiny wireless microphones. The creator version of this kit, the creator pack, includes one of these wireless mics, and you can actually pair it with, I think, at least one more. And you can buy those straight from DJI as well. These are great because they're almost invisible once I put it on my shirt, which I'm not doing a perfect job right now. But this would allow me to use a wireless microphone with this camera to get the best audio quality possible. We actually let our social media team use these out in the field sometimes. And even out in the wind, these microphones do a really good job of cutting out that wind noise and that background noise.
Mm-hmm.
I could probably talk about this for like another 30 minutes. So if you have specific questions, Dave or anybody else watching, let me know what your questions are, because I'll answer them specifically about what this little guy can do, because I think it's amazing. Let's see. How do you defeat some of the algorithms for social media posts? John brought in the best damn analogy today.
All right, you ready for this?
Go for it, brother.
All right. So if your social media is basically this, you're going to the grocery store once a week, going to the market and going, hey, I have a business. And then you're silent for another week. How many people at the grocery store are actually going to hear what you're saying? However, if you're up at the grocery store every single day, hey, my business. Hey, you, have you heard about my business? You, sir, with the blue shirt, have you heard about my business? Every single one of those people are going to know the guy that's standing up at the grocery store every day. So your social media needs to not look like the town crier once a week yelling to the masses, hey, look at me, hey, look at me. It needs to be a daily thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the big thing to take note there is, like, everybody wants to take this one-to-many approach. And I think that there's a lot of value in one-to-many because it helps you make a greater impact faster. But the reality is, if we look like at a platform such as Facebook, which gets less than 1% engagement, we are doing a lot of just talking in the wind. That's the reality.
Yep.
And so when we think about it like that, we really have to start taking a more personalized one-to-one approach when possible, by still, and also leverage, the one-to-many. So for example, one of the things that we're seeing a lot of podcast hacks to grow their podcast is they're actually DMing people that look like that kind of audience that they want, specifically saying, hey, we had this person on. We think that this episode would really make a lot of sense for you to listen to. You probably love it. Go check it out. And then once they, listen to it 2 or 3 days later, we message them again and say, hey, what did you think about the podcast? Would you mind subscribing to the podcast? So a lot of really cool stuff there. But I think that, I don't know. I just think that when it comes to the algorithms, you have to be focused less on the algorithms and more about your message, your narrative. There's actually a course that I just took, though.
You're gonna plug it?
I'm gonna plug it because it was really, really good.
It was good, and I think they deserve that.
History.
Good work deserves recognition.
Good work deserves recognition.
Regardless of who did it.
Yep.
I wish we had created this course.
I know, it's good. It's a company called One Peak Creative. It was specifically a course around TikTok and Instagram Shorts and going viral with that kind of content.
We can make an affiliate for that too.
Okay, we'll do that.
We gotta make the link, then we can share the link.
All right. At some point, we'll share an affiliate link because, it doesn't hurt to get a little extra credit for sharing these guys' course.
Yeah.
But it's a delicious course. I love it. It was tasty. I learned a lot of stuff. There was like 500 awesome hooks that they shared to help you.
Yeah.
They shared a lot of value around like when to use hashtags, when not to use hashtags.
Like,
They shared.
Honestly, it made our content creation pre-plan meeting this morning. Probably we knocked it out in 30 minutes?
Yeah, way more effective.
Yeah.
So again, less focus on the algorithm, more focus on genuine content. I know that sounds so loaded, but it really is true.
Mhm.
And knowing some secrets around like, hey, make sure, like the analogy I used with John this morning is like, a lot of our businesses are followed by our parents. And if mom, you're watching right now, I love you and I appreciate you and continue to support me because you're our biggest supporter.
We love you.
But purely from a data perspective, it doesn't always help you in the algorithm perspective
Right.
because your mom, her other behavior on social media does not necessarily look like the same behavior you're looking for in your ideal customer.
Right.
And so what happens is you post something and you're like, why did it only get 13 likes? Well, it's because the algorithm has said, oh, well, we think that this lady, your mom, who likes your content all the time, must be who you're looking
Yeah.
for. And the reality is it's not. So when your video shows up in that person's feed and they just keep scrolling past it, you never get the likes that you want. So sometimes what you have to do is make sure that you're being mindful of who follows you, make sure that you're mindful of the content you engage in, because all of that stuff that's happening is telling the algorithm who they think should be paying attention to you, right? So keep that all into mind. Take a listen. Like I said, we'll share that link for that course because it's really good.
There's a good question in there about battery life for broadcasting.
Yeah.
I'd like to address that.
Yep.
So my bottom line is if the stream is going to be more than 10 minutes, we're going to plug that camera in. Otherwise, we risk losing battery or having to swap out, doing a hot swap. And for streaming, that's just not going to work. So
Yeah.
I don't use battery for broadcast for streaming stuff unless it's, I have a battery that I know lasts an hour, and we're going to do a 30-minute stream on that battery.
And I'm glad you asked that question because we've never used the DJI Osmo
As
on
a streaming
device. So first of all, it does. I know Dave's already hopped off, and Dave, again, if you're still on later, brother, thank you. Have a good Zoom call. If you're not, see you later. Or if you're not, you still didn't hear that. So
No, he didn't.
you'll listen to me later. Tell you goodbye,
He
Dave.
said he got back to Instagram. So we'll tell him.
So the thing that I would say here is you can stream with this straight to Facebook and Instagram and all the platforms. I've never tried to see how long it would last. I've also not tested to see whether or not you could use what we call shore power or being able to plug it in for the duration of a stream. So that might be something we do as like a
I'm
little
sure you could,
test
but
project
yeah.
to see how long it goes before you wouldn't want it to overheat. So that's something we'd have to kind of look at. But in general, I mean, on a single battery, we've gotten at least a few hours. So I mean, it's pretty cool. So.
I guess my rule of thumb there would be know how long your battery can last and make sure your stream length is going to be under that because you'll probably need some more as well. So just be careful with batteries and always have a backup battery. That's my caveat on batteries.
Right here, we got one from Mindy. What's your podcast again? I knew about John's, but didn't know you had a different one. Yeah. So again, because I'm shameless plugging over here right before the end of this call, Business Growth Hacks. And again, our podcast is hosted by myself and John Fritching. Number 2, John. Number 1, 2, John.
It's okay.
They're all number 1 and number 2.
I don't get upset
like
about
that.
the number.
Whose number? Damn it. I don't like this game. John.
Me, John.
Me, John. John Fritching.
Here's what I would do if I were you. Whichever John you're talking to is number 1.
It's just,
Okay?
number 1, John, right here. Ladies and gentlemen, number 1, John. Me and him host this podcast, Business Growth Hacks. every single day, Monday through Friday, less than 10 minutes, because we realize that time is your most valuable asset. You'll never be able to get that back. So we want you to be able to get as much value that you can in the shortest amount of time. That being said, I know as a podcast listener and as a podcast host, a lot of times I listen to podcasts in the car, on a bike ride, on a walk. So sometimes I want something just fast and concise, but I also want to listen to that silly, goofy podcast that I listen to, right? So you can know that you have enough time to do both, because our podcast is short, it's actionable, it's stuff that you can implement in your business. We have thought leaders from all over the country that we have on the show, bringing us, world, I guess, right?
Yeah, we quit doing the Australian interviews because they were so hard.
The time zones are hard.
But we do have around the world.
And crazy good value. So that podcast can be found businessgrowthhacks.com. You can find it on any major podcast platform. Again, shout out to our buddy John Kelly, aka John the Marketer, Small Business Origins, if you want to listen to his show. Anyways, we've gone over the 1 hour mark. For those of you that have hung in, liked the video, commented, asked questions, thank you so much. We're going to do this every freaking week if we can. We're going to do our best. Mondays, again, we're probably going to do these around 11 a.m., maybe around lunchtime, 12. Honestly, if there's a time that you feel like works best for you and what your boss will let you sneak away and listen to us, let us know in the comments. We're going to pay back attention and look later to see what you said. But we want to just keep bringing the value. So if there's specific topics you want to talk about, bring those to us. We can do a whole presentation, or as always, we will specifically be doing AMAs and questions. And one more question before we go, and then we'll wrap it up. From Mindy, do you recommend training to learn more about SEO? Absolutely. Yes. And Mindy, I would be happy to send you, we actually have a tool that you can check out that is like a do-it-yourself SEO tool. So for those out there that are, businesses or companies that aren't quite ready to invest in SEO, but they are wanting to start the process, this do-it-yourself SEO tool is really cool because it allows you to kind of get a step-by-step with instructions on what kind of things you can do to improve your ranking on Google. We'll actually table this too as a starting topic for next week's episode or next week's live. So SEO during our AMA next week, we're going to get all into what the hell is SEO and what you can do to help start implementing SEO in your business. That's it. That's all we're going to do for today. We're going to be here for 2 hours if we don't. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you tomorrow.